Hello everyone and welcome to today's Daily Writing Clinic. Today's Daily Writing Clinic is going to be on General Task 1 and it's about writing formal letters. So this month we're going to go through how to write a formal letter, the various stages. We're going to start off with the greeting and the purpose statement, and then we're going to look through the bullet points and signing off at the end over the various weeks of this month. Before we start, just a couple of things about Daily Writing Clinics. Just remember these are not mandatory, you don't have to do them. And please focus on the course first. That's the most important thing, get through the course first. The purpose of these daily writing clinics is to revise different aspects of the course, so it's obviously very important that you go through the course first, practice those elements, and then receive global feedback on a task that I set at the end. The global feedback will be given on Tuesday next week, and you'll be able to find it in a link under this video. If you just come to this video, look in the comments, there'll be a link that you can click on, and that will help you get to the global feedback for this video, which will be next Tuesday. The benefits of these daily writing clinics are that you can use that global feedback to analyse your own work and overcome your weakness. Just to manage some expectations, there will be no individual feedback. That's the purpose of the correction service. So if that's what you're looking for, a specific feedback on your own work, please submit your essays or letters to the correction service. And just as far as instructions go, make sure you post the answers to today's task in the comments below this video. Okay, with all that said, let's get on with today's daily writing clinic on writing the greeting and purpose statement for a formal letter. So the question we're going to be looking through this month is, you have just read an article in an international travel magazine which contains some information about your town that is incorrect. Write a letter to the editor of the magazine. In your letter, correct the information in the article, explain why it is important for the magazine to give correct information, suggest what the magazine should do about this situation. So always the first thing we always have to think about with this type of letter, is it informal or formal? And for that, we just look at the write a letter to. And here we see write a letter to the editor of the magazine. We know that if it does not say friend, then it's going to be formal, there's a little clue in the title of this week's title. So we're writing to an editor, so we're going to make sure that everything is formal. That means we're not using contractions, and we are going to be using more formal writing. Next thing you've got to be thinking about is, why are you writing? So you just read an article in an international travel magazine which contains some information about your town that is incorrect. So there's a couple of ways to go about this. Is it to inform? I would say yes, you're informing the editor of their mistake. To ask or inquire, not really, not inquiring or asking anything. To thank, no, we're not thanking anyone here. To complain, you could be looking at this as being a formal complaint letter. So that's definitely a possibility. Or to apologise, and you're not apologising. So two options here. We could say, I'm writing to complain, or I'm writing to inform. Now, what we would tend to do in English here is, even though this is kind of a complaint letter, it's just often a little bit more polite to say that we're writing to inform someone, rather than to say that we're writing to complain. Okay, so I would probably just use this as, I'm writing to inform you that, and then give the information that we're going to be talking about. So obviously, we're looking at keywords here. So as far as a paraphrase goes, we need to think, what are the keywords so that we can use synonyms to replace them. So you read an article in an international travel magazine. So obviously, the fact that it's a magazine is important, it's a travel magazine is also important, and it's an international travel magazine, which is important. It contains some information about your town. So we're knowing that we're in a town. It's not saying a city, it's not saying a village, we're saying a town. So making sure we specify that. I don't want to be writing about London, for example, because that would be writing about a city, whereas it says write some information about your town, so make sure that you're writing about a town, not a city. And that is incorrect, so we've got to mention that something is incorrect. When we're looking at some information, here I'm probably going to be giving examples. So again, with the town and with the information, I'm probably going to be thinking about examples that I can give here. So we're writing to the editor, so make sure we know who we're writing to, so we can talk about, I'm writing to inform you about a mistake, which would be a synonym for something being incorrect, or an error. So I'm writing to inform you about a mistake I found in your magazine, or you could write about, use the name of the magazine, up to you, I guess. And then we could have inform them about what's wrong. So an example I was thinking about, maybe I'm writing to inform you about a mistake I saw about the dates, or was it the day of the farmers market in my local town, Ringwood. And that would be it. So in that paraphrase that I just mentioned, I've talked about I'm writing to inform the person, so it's your magazine, so it's obviously looking like I'm talking to the editor. I'm saying that there's an error in there. I've mentioned it's their magazine. I'm saying that there's some information which is about the farmers market, and I'm talking about Ringwood, which is a town in England. Okay, so that's what we want to be thinking about there. Making sure that everything you're using, all the synonyms you use, are 100% accurate. If you're not 100% accurate and you're not 100% sure of what your synonym is, don't use it. Make sure that you understand your synonyms 100%, because accuracy really is the key to successful paraphrasing, and accuracy is also the key to successful vocabulary scores. The other thing we need to look at in this week's task is a greeting. There's going to be a formal letter. So the best way to write a formal letter here is we're just going to decide, do we know the name of the person? In this case, it's up to you. We're going to probably start with dear, and then what we could do is sir or madam, or we could start with dear, and then you can make up a name, because you possibly know the name of the editor by reading the magazine. So both are okay. Something to note though, looking at the sign off, that if we're going to choose dear sir or madam, we can sign off the letter with yours faithfully. If we decide to go with a name, so dear Mr. Smith, then at the end we're going to have, at the sign off at the end of our letter, we're going to have yours sincerely. Or we could just use kind regards at the end, so we don't have to think of either of those. But just something worth noting, that if you know the name, we're going to use sincerely, and if you don't know the name, we're going to use dear sir or madam, we can use yours faithfully. Okay, so that brings us on to your task. So this week's task is write the greeting and purpose statement for this question. You have just read an article in an international travel magazine which contains some information about your town that is incorrect. Write a letter to the editor of the magazine, and then in your letter, we don't have to worry about the bullet points yet. We'll look at those in the coming weeks. So apart from that, I hope you're well. Good luck with all your studies, and please stay safe.